background on each guest who comes into the show. So if we can start with you, Jeffrey.
Hi, my name is Jeffrey Amos. I was born in Mcleod. Spent a few years there, then moved with my parents into the Delta. My grandfather's traditional outpost camp. Spent a few years out there growing, learning, hunting, and then when school started, I was school age, from 9 years old. I moved into Inuvik with my parents and my youngest sister, and then started my school life. Got involved in the residential school early age, although my time in residential school wasn't as lengthy as a lot of my peers. I only got to spend March or May and June in the residential school while my parents were out subsistence harvesting.
And who are your parents?
My parents are Jesse and Colin Amos. Grandparents are on my dad's side, the Amos Tama, and grandmother Susie. And on my mom's side is Mary Catholic. Both parents or grandparents on both sides are traditional harvesters. Lived and born and raised on the land, and had a tremendous history in the earlier stages of the Delta. Attended all of my schooling here. Didn't graduate. Started working at an early age, 17, 18. Eventually married my wife for 45 years this summer. Had six children.
And what's your wife's name?
My wife is Dorothy Amos.
Mm-hmm.
6 children of our own. We adopted a girl after trying to have another girl. And out of the 6 children, we have 14 grandchildren. No great grands yet, but we're working on that. Growing up after school, I started in the trades industry, painter, decorator, drywall for 30-some years, raising my family, providing for my family, and then I got into the wellness field in 91 after I finally sobered up, and been working in the field ever since. And thoroughly enjoy it. It's a story on my grandfather's side is he wanted me at a young age. He told me at a young age that I have to help my people to heal. So I'm here.
That's beautiful. Yes, that's beautiful. I love looking at. And Suzanne, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yes. Excuse me. Born and raised I was born in Mcleod, and I was raised in Inuvik. All my life I've been here. I've never lived anywhere. I don't think I've ever been outside of Canada. But yeah, lived here all my life. My parents are George and Martha Harry. That's how I knew them. Only as I got older, I learned their Inuvialuktun names. And I always knew my Inuvialuktun name. My Inuvialuktun name is Nanmak. But they never did call me by Nanmak. They just called me by Susan or Bunny. My dad called me Agan, which I'm named after his mother. And my mom called me Bunny because I'm her daughter. So that's how I knew me, like growing up.
Yeah.
And we lived up on Co-op Hill. Fun times up there growing up. Today I'm really thankful for my older siblings. They love the tradition. Lillian Elias is my older sister, and Leonard Harry, Larry Stephenson.
Yeah.
Those are my siblings. And me and my younger brother, we didn't grow up on the land. By the time we were old enough, we came into town. But my older siblings had the opportunity to live out there, and us, we didn't. So what stories we hear, that's how we know what it's like to live on the land.
So I wanted to stop and say for a second that to our viewers, the very second episode we had was with Lillian, and she's your older sister.
Growing up in Inuvik, my parents both worked. My dad worked for the government. My mom worked for Stringer Hall. She was a seamstress there. And So, yeah, life was different. Never thinking of residential school as residential school then. It was just here. Like, never thought of it as anything else until I started working. I was a stay-home mom until my girls were both in school. I have 2 girls. I have 6 grandchildren. Loves of my life. I stayed home with I stayed at home with them until they were school age. So I never was in the workforce. But my dad and my mom both worked. My dad retired. He worked for the government for 25 years. I love his story. He says he worked collecting garbage. Like he was a garbage collector. And then he got promoted to a duty driver. So he just picked up parts for the government. But he did it diligently, like every morning, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, he was up and out the door to work. So we learned a lot from him, growing. Like Jeffrey, I didn't finish high school. I left at an early age because of the addictions, I guess, in the community at that time. It was really hard. So yeah. I'm really encouraged by my parents. I mean, my older siblings. Yes. Both Leonard and Lillian. They can tell very vivid stories, and I just love them. And that's what I pass on to my grandchildren. Yeah. My granddaughter, the youngest one, she just loved story time at night. She said, "Tell me another story, Nana. Tell me another story."
Those moments are so precious.
They are. Yeah. And then if you could remember stories from what your parents told you or what your older siblings told you, those are priceless. Yeah. And I got into the working field. I was a caring person. My Nivellic name is Nunmuck. And I didn't know her. I never met her. That's my dad's mother. I didn't meet her, but my mom said, I'm just like her. Yeah. She said she's always inviting people, come and eat, and come over, So I was just like that. I'm very I love people. I love being with people, helping. So that's probably how I got into the field. Of course, I was just a nervous wreck when I was growing up. I was so shy, couldn't say nothing out of me. But as time grew and, I developed some skills from training and other things. And being an elder, I've grown. So, I love Inuvik. Inuvik is a really good place. We just got to help each other to get out those things that are negative.
I absolutely love Inuvik too. I feel like it's big enough for everything that you need and small enough to feel like a small community. Exactly. So Debbie, here's Debbie. Debbie Gordon Rubin. I wasn't sure if I say both of the names together. So, and if you can tell us a little bit about yourself. I know that you're a dancer.
Yes. I was born in Nubik, raised in Mcleod till we came over for grade 10, 11, 12 here in Nubik. But when I was in Mcleod, it was kind of funny. My dad was always worked for the government, and at that time he was the foreman when I started school of the hamlet or the town. And my mom, she was raised on the land, and she was raised like a boy. So when he went to work in the morning, my mom would be getting ready to she'd hitch up her dogs and her dog team, and she'd go check her trap line, and my dad would go to his workshop or their garage. And when we came home from school, she'd be just coming with her dog team with whatever she caught in her trap line, and start making supper. And my dad would come home, and I loved to be out on the land. Every chance I got, I didn't like to be left behind. And from must be May, middle of May, till the middle of June, we'd be at our spring camp hunting muskrats in the Delta. And then we go home for a couple of weeks. Then we go out to Tunnganarniq, which is West Whitefish, on a private side, and do whaling and whatever there. And then we go into Little Fish River and do fishing there. And by the time I came back, it was ready to go to school. I loved it. I was always out with my mother.
Yeah.
My dad and my siblings would come on the weekends, but I'd rather stay out at camp than be in town.
Yeah.
It's more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your mom sounds like she was a really strong role model for you.
She was. She is. She this article I'm using is her old one, and she was going to put it away. And said, "I'll use that."
Yeah.
Yeah. I love traditional dress. That's all I saw my grandmother use. Her mother. Her mother is Rhoda Allen, and her father is Edwin Neil Allen. He came down with the reindeer herd. They came across from Sami, went across to around Kochuk, and he wasn't married yet, and it was he was old not to be married, which was about 17, 18. So one of the lead herders, who was Inuk from Sami, went to his parents, Joseph and Sophie from Kotzebue, Siswalik, and asked them if they could train his son and take him down with the reindeer herd, and they train him and they sent him back in a couple of years. But he met my grandmother and never returned.
Yeah. So was this the same reindeer herder that my great dad would have been in, Mark McSana?
Yes, they know each other.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's
I think even Mark is from around the same area.
I think so.
From the Kotzebue area, that Manilak regional.
Close by Alaska, in Alaska.
Yeah. I know they go by the name Rexford.
Yes.
Yes.
There's a lot of Rexfords. In Alaska.
Yeah. So funny because there's a lot of Noxanas, but we're all the same. We all come from my dadic John and my nanic Mabel. and my uncle David. But that's strange to hear that there's more family that we have over in Alaska.
Nice. It's been, next month will be 9 years that I've been with the Resolution Health Support Program Department with IRC. And before that, we lived. My husband comes from Kochuk, Stan. He comes from Kochuk, so we lived there for 12 years when my children were all small till they became young teenagers, and then we tried moving to Yellowknife, and city life is not for us. So we moved here. Yeah. And we met actually at ICS. We knew each other in high school, and when we started with ICS, we were all the very first morning, and he comes. We were all sitting next to Anne Kochuk, Rini Airy, myself, Perry Mcleod, and Walter Goose, and I think Roy. And there comes this young, handsome guy, and this voice said in my head, a deep voice said, "That's the man you're going to marry." Sure enough, he's my husband. Yeah. We have 4 sons. Yeah, they're 3 of them live here. One in Tuck. Yeah. Very nice. Yeah. So we met each other at ICS as adults. Yeah.
And if we can move on to Brian Kochuk.
Hi.
Did I say it?
Kochuk, yeah.
Kochuk, yeah. If you can just tell me a little bit about yourself.
My name is Brian Kochuk. I'm from Tuck, and I've grown up here a lot, and then a little bit in Mcleod. There was, I have a lot of siblings, but I'll list like, there's Lisa Elegamic and Saxar Olahakta. There's myself, there's Petra and Aaron, and then we have a brother over in Winnipeg named Stuart.
Okay.
I always laugh with my sister Lisa because I always tell her she broke trail. She made things a little bit easy for her.
Yeah.
But my mom's name is Chixie. My dad's Brian Kochuk Sr. My grandparents are Bobby Chixie, Mabel Chixie, and my on my dad's side is Moses Ratty and Emma Ratty. That's where my nickname comes from, Mo, from Moses.
Oh.
And my brother Aaron, he got his name because in the Bible, Aaron's the brother of Moses.
Yeah.
So that's, and Sue knew my mom, and I grew up around Jeffrey also. You're my cousin too.
Yes, we're related. We kind of grew up a little bit older, so we grew up in the same town. We definitely knew each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We what I'm doing right now is working with IRC as a community initiatives coordinator for self-government. So for those of you in the ISR, I'll most likely see you guys soon. I'm also helping with community economic development. So there's mural projects that will be commencing soon. Also, I like to specialize in doing a lot of painting classes. Right now I'm learning how to work alongside with an occupational therapist to bring out strategies for mental health when it comes to learning how to process and get by and utilize art as an expression to get around mental health. And that's where I find myself really passionate, and I'm learning that, you know, if sickness in the mind and everything could be so contagious, so can healing. So that's what I'm doing is, you know, learning that how to teach others how to heal through art, like how I did with myself, because that's my passion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can move on to Lexus Mcleod. Oh, I'm so sorry. I read Mc, and that's where I stopped reading after I read Lexus. I'm so sorry about that.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm Lexus Mcdonald. I'm from here in Nunavik, but I've grown up in a few different other communities for a little while, but I was conducting Nunavik. And my dad is Warren Steen from Tuck, and my mom is Melissa Mcdonald from here in Nunavik. I don't know what to say.
Well, I'll ask you, how did you get into art? Because you were also an artist.
Well, I grew up making art. Like, I always just wanted to draw and color and things, and then I just decided to continue to develop that and like develop the skills of it. So I just kept making art, and if I got an opportunity to do something, I took it.
So I'm gonna ask you, where do you work? Because it's a very special place.
I work at ICS downstairs.
Yes, the Indian Communications Society.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm a graphic design intern. And this summer I did an editorial intern, so I worked with Jason editing his magazine. But now I'm a graphic design intern. I started today. I started just today, actually.
But you worked with ICS before.
Yeah, for about 3 months, 2 months.
Yeah.
Lexus and I had we had traveled down to Yellowknife this summer, and we were working on mural projects together. And
that was a really great opportunity to do art.
Yeah,
so cool.
So that's hopefully all of us will be able to
Get to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty soon it'll be coming up on the
Yeah.
15th, I think, or the 16th.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you guys would have been able to see my facial expression.
So, to continue with the show, I forgot to say this. So, the Inuvialuit Regional Corporation is where you work, and then under it is the Resolution Support Program. So, if Debbie, if you can provide me a little bit of an overview what the program is.
So we are part of the Health and Wellness Division of IRC, where our program is Resolution Health Support. Resolution Health Support. It started in 2008, 2009, Jeffrey? Jeffrey has been here with the Resolution Health Support Program that has graduated to different, called different things, but it's under the same guidelines and contribution agreement. So he's been here since the very beginning.
February 2008.
Wow.
And Susan as well has been with the program for very many years. I think almost 20. And Jeffrey longer than us.
Grandfather.
Yes. And myself just 9 years. But the Resolution Health Support Program stemmed out of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and started being funded by them through a contribution agreement to help assist and work with the residential school students, people who were in the residential schools, and that stems right back to 1922 and when there was a residential school in Shingle Point, and then they stayed there till 1925. They relocated to Mcleod, and there was two there. There was the Roman Catholic mission, and there was also the Anglican mission there, and there was also, and then in 1957, 58, they relocated to Inuvik, where they had the Goder Hall and Stringer Hall. And all those students lived on those premises, but walked to another building to go to school. Except for maybe some point in time in a private, I think they were in the same building, but they still left the place that they slept in and went to another room where they attended school. So that's where this program stems out of. Even though it stems out of that, we deal with the intergenerational impacts that come along with it. So from 1922 to 2021, that's a long period of time for the impacts to carry on. So mainly what we try to do is how to heal from those impacts. We've grown to this stage because we talk to our people, and I really think that the elders are the ones, because they always say the elders are the ones who know our history. They know, they have lived a nomadic life.
Yeah.
So that's who we should get our information and how to heal ourselves so that the next generation won't be impacted as much, and then the next generation on top of that will be healed even more. And they always say through our own culture and language, the ones that were taken away, is how we're going to heal. So we really take that to heart, and that's what we've been working on for the last couple of years through workshops and healing circles and stuff like that.
I was going to ask Suzanne, what are your thoughts? Like, how do you feel about tomorrow being the first annual National Day for Truth and Reconciliation? Like, what does that mean for you?
Well, for many years, like I said, when the residential schools were here in Inuvik, it didn't I didn't know anything about what was going on in there, and they were just buildings there. So And as I got older and became an adult and started hearing stories about what went on in the residential school, there was hardly any awareness out there. So walking for the walk tomorrow, it's the awareness. People need to know, even though the memories and everything was painful, people need to know. The truth has to come out, and that's what's happening. So that makes me happy, because when the truth comes out, then you're able to deal with what's inside of you. You know, and that's why I'm really thankful tomorrow that they're acknowledging. Canada is acknowledging, because for so long we haven't been part of Canada. I feel like that, you know, that we're always left out and you know, forgotten about. So I'm glad that they're making that acknowledgement tomorrow. And everybody will be, the whole Canada will be involved, so that's a good thing. Yeah.
I really feel like that also about us not being included, like even with the ability to have this TV show and just show more people in our culture, it just puts a little bit more of a spotlight in how we're just included. Like, almost like building the bridge between us and everywhere else. And I'm going to ask Jeffrey, I'm going to test you a little bit on your knowledge on the history of residential school here. Like maybe locations and who ran which schools.
Schools in Inuvik?
Yeah.
There were 2 schools in Inuvik, as Debbie mentioned, the Anglican. There was an Anglican residence, and there's also the Roman Catholic. They had to roll it all. But both students went to Sam School, which was the first school that they had here. And the Sam School was divided in half. You had the Anglican on one side and the Catholic on the other side. It's almost like a dividing line, right? The school itself was shaped in the form of a T, and another dividing line between outside of the school was the Mcleod, which separated the Anglican from the Roman Catholic. And growing up back then, you never ever did try to venture on either side, or you get stoned. There were some conflicts earlier. But what really amazed me as I was going to school, as I got higher up into the grades, grade 7 and 8, you started to see the Catholic and the Anglican starting to mesh when they got into the grade 10, so that camaraderie started to build. There's not so much infighting amongst the students. All communities, I believe, had a school of some sort. I know Tech had a school. Artigred, Sigachik had their own school. All the schools in the South too had their own schools, but residents primarily in Mcleod, and then when they transferred over to here, the residential schools in Mcleod shut down. Historically, there were schools right from the late, as far as I know, from the late 1800s, 1890. One of the first residential schools set up by the Roman Catholic Church, and then just blossomed from there. So there's tremendous history of residential schools throughout. And with my colleagues here, we provide service to everybody, not only in our region, but right straight across the board. I've got clients from Alaska right straight to Newfoundland, down into the States, and I even have two classmates. One is living in New Zealand, and another one's in North Korea. So we've got connections right across the globe.
Yeah. I don't know if who particularly this question can be directed to, but how can people or the public access your programs? We don't advertise. We just go out there and do our work.
whatever form our support is broad. Like, you know, it's not just limited to 2 or 3 hours a day. Our support is huge, from helping students to fill out their forms, to sitting with them in court, or attending hearings with them. So huge, and especially now with the, like Debbie saying, the intergenerational gap, supporting them in whatever capacity that they need. So yeah, workshops. I really enjoy what these 2 young people are doing here when it comes to artwork. Part of our healing, part of our program with people is to help them to connect with their, you know, some of their talents, to expose it, because over the years, you know, growing up in residential school, we were told to shut up, sit down, be quiet, don't say nothing. Now we're trying to get them to help the people to expose them, to find their inner child, find their talent. And some of the things that I use, especially with my own kids, my grandkids growing up, is teaching them to go back on the bush, back out on the land, and to live and to re-experience what they haven't had. So I'm so happy with my grandkids, and right now they're able to hunt and trap and harvest on their own and provide for the rest of their families. So if we can pass that on to, because that is a lost thing when I was growing up, you know, because I spent the first 7 or 8 years of my life on the land with my grandparents, my own parents, and then just scooped and brought right into modern day society where I couldn't even.
Structured days.
We never had a watch back then. Our watch was the environment, the season. Helping people to get connecting with us. It has the first year and a half for me working. It was really hard to get information and the awareness out of what we do. But now it's just a word of mouth. People get to know who we are and where we are.
So, like, say anyone in the community, or sounds like right across Canada and even in Alaska, people can just call IRC and just ask to be directed to the
Resolution Health Support Program.
A lot of them know us by names.
So we're on the first floor of IRC, right across from the elevator. That's where we are.
I was going to talk a little bit about the artists here. So what, I already know, but I'm going to ask you so the viewers can know, what form of artwork do you like to do?
Growing up it was just a little bit of everything, but I found that I'm most comfortable with acrylic. Acrylic is, I try to do oil. I don't have the patience. And with
to do painting.
With oil, it's there's a lot of everything, but sometimes not time. But acrylic, there's that drying space. I try to do watercolor. There's a different mechanism with that, because with acrylic you could work from the background forward, but with water you got to work from this way back. So I'm just like no. But bringing back to what Jeffrey said before about finding out what this is what helped me express who I am, because growing up in the system, it was a lot of identity issues on top of just the cultural genocide at that. It was it helped me figure out who I am, who I want to be, and I was asked at one point by somebody, what do I think our future is going to look like for our people? And I said, do you think it's going to get worse, or do you think it's going to get better? I said, it's going to get better. And they said, why do you say that? And I said, because we were raised by people that were taught to not know who they are. I said, and these next generations are going to understand who we are. And upon my traveling, being exposed to so much different cultures, they've gone through their residential schools and whatnot, but with after all that, after these healing periods, I sit down and see them. They're celebrating their culture. They're celebrating their life, and that's what we are learning to do. We are picking up pieces of ourselves from what, and through art is what I find my best expression.
Yeah. And Lexus, what sort of art do you like to do?
Sometimes I like to paint. Usually I'm using like markers or just sketching things out, and I also do like to do digital art. Yeah, I like to just make some digital art and have it posted online, or even print it out on different things like clothing.
How did you get started in digital art?
The internet.
It's a great resource.
Yeah, introduced the internet, introduced you to a lot of things, and I don't know. I think the idea of digital art is like a lot more intriguing than like traditional forms of art, like painting and drawing. But I still like to do a lot of sketching anyway.
Yeah.
There's so much freedom.
Yeah. So much freedom.
There's no rules when it comes to art. That's my favorite thing, is there's no rules to it.
Yeah.
We can, it's cliche, but Bob Ross is like happy accidents, like is what he calls it. Yeah.
One time we were doing I don't think you were not there, but like Bob Ross being a teacher, and I was doing a sewing class with like Nunki, Brian Rogers and everybody, and I was really doing well, and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna be the next Nunki." My name's Mo, right? I was like, "What are they gonna call me, Monkey?" Monkey. Yeah, so I was just like,
That's too funny. That's so funny. He probably would have been laughing.
He was laughing, Caitlin store now, we pulled all your strings.
And I wanted to ask you, what messages do you have, being young artists, for other Inuvialuit people who might want to get into art or another form to express themselves? Do you have any messages you'd like to maybe give other people?
You know what? Just don't be afraid. Don't, even if you are afraid, express that. It's just learning how to express your feelings. It's understanding who you are, who you were, who you want to be. Spending time with, surround yourself with people that are amazing, because once you have people that believe in you with you, it gets that much easier. And like through art, I was able to get to know Lexus a lot more, and she's my name's Lexus, not Amos.
Yeah.
we were able to find ourselves in good moments, and I'm learning things from her, and she's it's a great traffic when it comes to learning art. So just get out there, have fun, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. A lot of my greatest paintings are made by accident. I used to. Right now, like back in the day, I used to drink a lot and just paint and blast music, and I associated a lot of my art, but now I am doing it sober, and you get to learn more of yourself through art. You get to learn what is right for how you feel, and get to know yourself on different levels. Have fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Too funny. I wanted to ask, and I don't know. Okay, I'm just gonna ask whoever feels like they want to speak up can. This is my favorite question. I've always had a dream since before I had my daughter to ask this, like to run around town with the microphone and ask this. What makes you proud to be Inuvialuit? Or, that's what the question is. I was going to word it a little bit differently, but it would be the exact same thing. It's like, what makes you proud to be Inuvialuit? Yeah. If anyone wants to go first.
I could. I think it's when I was going to school, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know where I belong or where I fit. And as I got older, I started to listen to stories from my older siblings. And that's when I started to think back of the day when maybe my grandparents were sitting around together and they were in their little light, and they were laughing and sharing stories with each other. And I thought, that's who I am. That's who I am, like, you know. And I think, and then when you have a little aha moment and think, that's why I like to laugh. That's why I like to do, you know, because the stories that they told me that's who I am. And that's what I love being. I loved discovering who I was. And I loved what came out of who I was because of what my parents and grandparents instilled in me. And they're starting to show today, and that's why I love being me. Just to laugh and be with people, and that's the most important thing. I think. Sharing is so beautiful.
Debbie, do you want to add what being proud means? What does being...
I love being Inuk. It's such a... They're such strong people. The Inuit in the circumpolar world are so strong. I'm so proud to be in Nunavut. Since I could open my mouth, I love to sing. I enjoyed it. It fills a place in me that was taken away from my parents and my grandparents, and it just fills my whole being, and it fills my whole house too, because I don't sing softly. So whether or not my family want to learn it, they know the gist of some of the songs, and I love to drum dance. I love to, it just gives me so much joy inside, and so much pride, and it's so much fun. And we were in Kochuk, and this year will be my husband and I's 30th anniversary, but we've been together for 35 years, and I'm always with those young people. Because if you don't show them positivity, then I had to do positive things with them when I lived there, and so we're always drum dancing or singing or whatever. And we were having a drum dance performance, and my husband walks in and he sat down and he started singing, and they looked at him and they were just shocked that he could sing. And when I looked around, they were all like this. Like usually it's the guys that are drumming, and then when they go up, and then the ladies can take the jump. And it was such a awesome moment, because they had no idea. So tomorrow, when we do the walk in the Nunavut, and the drum dancers are going to be there, that's what I'm looking forward to, is just to fill the air with all our beautiful traditions.
Jeffrey, did you want to add on to what
I'm particularly proud to be in the valley, the resourcefulness of our people. You know, I think of our 3 or 4 generations past, how they took advantage of everything around them, and they survived, you know, out of nothing. And so much so, you know, that had it not been for our people, the early explorers, the RCMP, the church, they'd never be able to make it up here without us, without our family, without our elders. They're so creative and resourceful, and we always hear that we're resilient people, and we really are. But recent, you know, now the future, part of that resilience is we've got to be able to transition and to be able to want to make that change. My grandson one of my grandsons asked me if we'd ever be able to go back to the way we used to be. I said it's going to take a lot of doing. It's possible, but it's going to take a lot of doing. But we're so used to the society today and the handouts and the modern technology. Can we do without it? I don't think so. But I tell my grandchildren we still have to hang on to that resourcefulness, that creativity that our grandparents and our ancestors had. So being able to just get out of school and go out in a boat, to go out in the land, it's so helpful. That it's like healing, like Brian was talking about healing. Getting out in the land is healing for me.
One thing I'll add to that is I met a man when I went to the 2010 Winter Olympics. There was 350 Aboriginal youth from there. And there was one guy, I think his name was Matthew, he was from Goose Bay, Labrador. And he got up and he took the mic and he said to the Inuvialuit people, because there was to all of us Inuk from right across, right from the west to the east, and he said that he wanted to just give words of encouragement to all of us, because he said we are the fastest evolving people in Canada. We went 120 years ago to living nomadic, to going through what we went through, and then coming to where we are. And we've evolved so fast. Yeah, so he just wanted to give words of encouragement that our people are really strong, really resilient, and we adapt and learn so quickly, to fit in with the modern world. But I really do believe that,
For sure,
yeah. So we have Lex, what about you? Do you want to add to what makes you proud to be Inuvialuit?
I guess the sense of community and like our art and culture, so kind of just the entirety of being Inuvialuit. I just love. I don't know, we're like such a close community. We're always so connected somehow. And I don't know, just like the heart of that is like brings me so much warmth and like happiness.
Yeah.
And then our art is just beautiful and it's so creative and unique from like most of the world. It's just inspiring to me.
It's almost like it's never ending. There's always something that we could pull from our culture to add to our how we want to express ourselves artistically. I want to call you Mo. Every single time I look at you, I'm sorry.
What makes me proud to be Inuvialuit is our sense of our ability to come back to ourselves, like with our sense of humor. We're able to still sit down and laugh after all that craziness, and just I always say that my family, the Chixie side, Mcdonald side, Mabel Chixie, she used to always say growing up, or my mom used to always say growing up, and I went, Nanak. I said, what does that mean? Geez, what's wrong with these kids? I said, no, Nanak, what does this mean? I told you. Oh, okay. And then from that point on, I was like, and her grandparents, she was raised by the minister at Umok. And I always tell everyone, I'm not Almanac, I'm Umok. So, it's just a great sense of humor and able to just carry on. Just another message I want to give to everybody is I painted this so that, because this is our first sense of reconciliation, finding our truth and what we wish for in ourselves. I painted the pingos because that's my home. But I also painted 2 shooting stars because that's what we could do to make a wish. So, we could all bring this forward and make a wish and ask ourselves, what do we wish for to come out of all this? What type of healing is the best that we all can move forward with? So that's my stance on strong and Inuvialuit people. Shy now.
Shine.
My ex-fiance, when I was living south, he said, you can really hear like the real laughter when I call home. Because when we're with each other, that's when we can really laugh. Because, you know, when we're with other people, we give half of ourselves, three-quarters, but when we're with each other, yeah.
Yes.
You know what I'm going to point out about that? When we're with each other, our accents come out. My voice changes when I'm at home, especially when I'm talking to my dada or anyone who's older. Like how he said, our laughter comes out, our real laughter.
Yeah.
I also think that our thick accents from our communities come out too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah. I wanted to do you mind passing me that?
Which?
The coloring pages?
Oh, sugar, okay.
So I just want to do a little bit of recognition on so Martha Kochuk, I think is her name. Rainey Hopeson. Oh yeah, Rainey Hopeson. Sarah. Oh, I don't know how to say her last name. Wellen Loon. They created these. We have them on here just for just to occupy our hands. They created these coloring pages. This one's my personal favorite.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
So they're here. If anyone wants to
We have a cousin named Flora Rexford who does excellent.
Oh, does she?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, she's just a free hand.
I'll have to look into that. Look, this
Look
one
at that
too.
one.
It's so cute.
Oh, I love that one.
Yes, and Debbie brought in pictures, and on the back they say what they are. Do they only say them in English? We all have a picture.
This is actually for our blanket exercise that we deliver, one of the programs, and one of the things is trading, because our people didn't buy anything. We traded and we bartered, and this is one of the things that you put down in the middle of the blanket, and the people go in and they pick up something, and they have to go and find somebody to barter with.
Yeah.
So that's where these come from.
Our next one, I'm going to shout out another worker we have here at ICS. His name's Jason. I believe all of you know him. Jason is his last name, Lau. Jason Lau. He created these. They're cards. What do they say on them? The animal edition. And they have the animals from here in the Arctic, and they have the Inuvialuktun words on them. And they're playing cards or matching games. So I'm going to shout out to him. I think we all got a set. He did amazing work on creating these.
Very nice.
Yeah, you can pick them up, I think, here at ICS.
My uncle was in a ballot, I think he's 85. He said, you need to get me 2 of them.
I believe there's, I don't know if I should say, I believe there's more coming. But he does amazing work, and he created these.
We could take these?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all for you guys to take home.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I got a set too. So I want to thank every single one of you for coming on the show. This is a really, really special episode. Tomorrow is going to be a really special day. Yeah, the excitement is definitely going to be there. When is the march?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Starting from
Ingamo Hall.
to the complex.
Yeah, so anyone that's in Inuvik can go down to the Ingamo Hall at 1 o'clock. Wear orange.
They'll be providing shirts.
Okay.
T-shirts.
So, yeah, tomorrow's going to be an exciting day. Yeah, so.
A bunch of outfits walking down
Yeah, they'll be able to see us on Google Earth. Okay. So, thank you all for tuning in to the Tunnganarniq show, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you.
Bye. Yes.